Hey you guys, it's MJ from Alta Love. How are you? I want to talk about being unplugged. It's relevant because it features in my book, The Fearless Life Guide, as a foundational pillar of becoming clear and living in alignment and endeavoring fearlessness. For me on my path, it was again an intuitively guided thing, but I recognized that a kind of habitual watching of television was not healthy for me. It wasn't useful to me feeling peaceful and calm and clear. And this was like, after the awakenings, but before I really started doing yoga or even kind of researching that. And yet it really did align with like a, hi Marco, how are you? It really did like align with, that ever growing shift in perspective, and ultimately just knowing like I don't want a TV in my house. I don't want to be a TV in my house. I don't want to be programmed by advertising. And the few times, like say when I've like gone on a holiday or I've like tuned in to television, I'm actually really amazed at its power. Even for somebody who considers herself pretty clear and able to think, authentically and clearly. Usually within like a few hours of watching television and watching TV advertising, I find myself like, hey, Ninth House Gypsy. Well, this was a very clear example. This was probably back in maybe 2013 or 2014, and we went away with my partner at the time, and yeah, it was like hotel fun, and I think he was practicing his guitar or something, and I decided to watch some television. We didn't have TV at home, and I watching TV, and weirdly, within a couple of minutes, hours, I find myself thinking, oh yeah, I want that. And it was like Bailey's. It was some kind of like, I don't even drink alcohol anymore, and it was like an advert for like creamy Bailey's and coffee, and I was like, oh, oh yeah. And like fortunately I was able to catch that, and so I kind of caught the, yeah, just how powerful that program is, how powerful TV advertising is to make us want stuff, to make us want to buy stuff. It doesn't matter if we need it or not. It's the fact that advertising is there to remind us of what it wants us to want, what it wants us to buy. So I find being unplugged, and increasingly so as this kind of awakening, hi Marco, as this awakening continues, more and more people are going to want to unplug from the mainstream agenda. And I'm somebody who's always going to be an advocate for that. I do quite like Netflix. I randomly found myself watching Friends repeat, and I yeah, and again there I'm watching it from very different eyes and a very different lens, and actually I'm looking at how a show like that would have programmed me and my generation to have a lot of drama in our relationships, for women to be representative and playing one role and men to be representative of playing another role, i.e. like Joey as a character, and then you know Monica and Rachel as characters. It's like the clean freak and the fashionista, and then the womanizer, and it's just also like accepted. And yet all these years later, especially when you think about how heavily it is like a drug, isn't it? And how heavily we're programmed by those conditions, and we don't realize it until we unplug from it and then take a break from it and then find ourselves, and then we look back at this programming and are like, oh my god, I literally acted it out. Like the cheating or the drama and the friendship circle and the being the clean freak or being the fashionista, we often unconsciously want to embody it because of how it looks. Happy birthday, John! Was it yesterday? Did we miss it? Did I wish you happy birthday? So yeah, and we projected those behaviors onto others. Yeah. Yeah, we do. We project out the whatever it is. Today! Happy birthday, John! Love hot vibration on your special day. Our birthday, the day that we are born. How exciting. I feel like a collective celebration is massively in order. I feel like we're all like, all of our cells are celebrating for you right now. Happy birthday, John. I really appreciate you massively. So yeah, unplugging. Oh, I love you guys so much. I love how much love we share just right here on the platform. Somebody was saying that about we're heading into this Sagittarian energy, and like a lot of us, it's like finding tribe, feeling into tribe, and I really feel that with this platform and with you all on the other side of the screen. Like I feel like a lot of us, I'll speak for myself, but I'm definitely quite like fairly reclusive and introvert. I'm not like a natural social butterfly. I don't have a huge social circle. I tend to have like my handful. So I have like a very small kind of handful of, I call them the inner circle, like people who I confide in and myself with and talk to about lots of stuff. And then my tribe, and like you guys are my tribe. You guys are like the people I resonate with, and I energetically, vibrationally kind of feedback off of this community, because I resonate often more with this community than like the world of form. And often that's part of the intuition that I get in the world of form, is that it's like sometimes quite almost bittersweet, or a little bit like do 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 do, like that kind of feeling, because so often when I walk through the streets of this world, I like often feel like the world that we see present moment is like over. So like a lot of the shop fronts and a lot of the kind of businesses and a lot of the trade and all of that kind of stuff, it's representative of the old. I'm not sure, Marco. I'm not sure how to answer your questions. If you're wanting to book some time, feel free. You've told me there's a wrong answer. I'm not sure how to engage there, dude. I'm just talking about unplugging from the mainstream media as a way to become more clear in your heart and in your mind. And I feel like that is really relevant discussion, considering how much fear and kind of disparity and out of controlness there's bombarded through mainstream agenda. And part of that trigger, of course, is that when we watch that stuff, there's nothing we can do about it. When we watch the poverty, or we watch the war, or we watch that stuff, it's done. It's apparently happening, and there's nothing no we can do. Oh no, don't you? You can share. I'm just the question so far, I'm not really sure how to answer for you. If my answers are wrong for you, I don't know. So yeah, I just felt inspired. I'm planning right now a retreat next year for the unplug kind of theme, and there's 2 or 3 different spaces that are opening up for me, and I'm really looking forward to expanding the unplug theme. For those of you who are reading the book, it's pretty tiny little section right at the beginning after the emotional foundational pillars, or as part of the foundational pillars. And I really do talk mainly about like the main. So I talk about newspapers, magazines, trash mags, fashion mags, radio frequency, just different radio stations. All of it, all of it, all of it has a program attached to it. All of it has a frequency of agenda. And I often find that like looking at it in physics, in scientific terms, is sometimes more relevant to some of us. And also it helps us like, it just helps us make sense when we start to learn about law of attraction teachings. And it really is like what we emit we attract. And so if we're, and then you can see that if we're engaging with mainstream media agenda every day throughout the day, and we're listening to the radio on the way to work, and then the radio's on in the background, and like, or we're at home and the TV's on in the background, whether we're conscious of it or not, we're ingesting that drama. We're ingesting the drama of war, of promiscuity, of like party, like, oh, fun. And like a lot of it to me is smoke and mirrors. A lot of the agenda of mainstream news is to keep us kind of just like kind of blind consumers, right? And those under control, it's hard because many are suppressed emotions, frustrated, and for people further on their awakening journey, it's lonely. Nice insight. Nice insight, John. It's funny you say the holidays are a tough time for so many, and I was I had that as well because I'm a child of divorce, and oftentimes kids whose parents get divorced at a young age, there's like the fantasy of Christmas kind of dissolves because there's like it's split, and then you kind of as a kid you tend to feel bad for like whoever, whatever parent you're gonna go to, and yeah, just the illusion of Christmas sort of starts to get, or like suddenly one of your parents doesn't have enough money to buy presents, right? And so you're a kid who's feeling this like, oh, so Christmas just isn't just about presents, you know? And like and of course actually Christmas, the holidays, +1, none of my family have spoken in decades. Really? That yeah, and then that, like, Christmas is about family, but there's so many people who aren't necessarily connected to family, and then what is about, and people, this totally connects. So we're into the holiday season, and I'm talking about unplugging, right? And that's it, beautiful, John. Like, you've just created your own from that new paradigm perspective, right? And a lot of us have that theme of kind of having to withdraw or run away or come away from our family. Apparently we are approaching, I know, the most wonderful time of year. And then the polarity is that people are stressed out. I mean, quite, not loads, but like, I've had a couple sessions with people recently where it's like, this is possibly the most anxious time of year because I have to hang out with my family, right? So there's that polarity of the media, right? The mainstream media telling us like, the happy family, and this is how Christmas is gonna look, and it's gonna be so wonderful. And if you don't have a Christmas that looks like this, you're a big fat loser, or you don't, you know, and like, and that's often what we do when we don't fit in. I have to get my kid an iPhone because, oh, in AA, like, it's so legit. This is so part of it, right? It's like the mainstream media. We're adults. And our generation, I'm an 80s baby, so we were the proper first generation who grew up watching TV. And as adults, we're suddenly going, whoa, like, what are we doing? What are we actually doing? And so we're realizing we're acting out programs, conscious and unconscious. We're acting out programs from our parents, we're acting out programs from ancestry, we're acting out programs from the media. And so, and then there's like the getting presents for the loved ones, mostly wasted gifts we don't use. I see the homeless watching people full of shopping babes. It's the most selfish time of year. And how despairing is that? I fully feel you, Supernova. It's like the polarity. It's the extremism of it all. You're exactly right. This idea of like, let's just shop, stress, and then just be blind and ignore all of these massive global issues that stare us in the face. And then you look at the media and look at Black Friday. Look at how the media kind of triggers us and this whole time of year suddenly brings out the worst in people. It brings out our greed and our, like, I don't know, just this, like, what are we actually doing? And it astounds me that this is still where we are, that things like Black Friday still exist. And I guess that's why we're here, is that we are way showers and we are bridge builders, and in our own special and unique way we are people who are grounding into a peaceful, more expansive, more harmonious resonance, not more, just isness, because it's the more aligned with the truth of who we are. And then I guess it's just the total faith and surrender of knowing the truth. Hey, cool insight about being an 80s baby. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the insight. The first time I had that insight was way back in my first year of university, around the times that I was having my awakenings. And it was in one of our abstract theory classes. And I remember saying that because we were talking about the impact of the media. And I, tooting my own clever horn, I remember saying, yeah, but how can I accurately assess the impact of this thing, the media, when I don't know a reality without it? My beingness, I don't know a reality without television as part of it, right? Because I was put in front of a TV from a really young age, and it was part of it was just the world, right? Similarly, the millennials, the 90s and the 2000 babies, they don't know reality without internet. So, and this is something I was acutely aware of early on in my awakening time, was this global awakening is an exponential quantum leap. So the way we're seeing our consciousness accelerate is like so much faster than our old programming can keep up with. Hence why it's so relevant for us to meditate, relax, practice yoga, be around the good people, be around the connections that we feel really in alignment with, invest in the people, places, and companies that we want to invest in, detach from the energies that we don't want. And this is something I'm working diligently with in myself and in my private clients, is like, if there are people, places, and environments that drain you, cut them out. Be ruthless now, and do it with love. Do it with integrity. Do it with compassion. Love the people that drain you, but don't tolerate you putting yourself in the drainage position. It's not them. They're not the ones draining you. You're choosing to be drained by engaging with that, right? And that's the discipline of meditation. That's the discipline of inner work or spiritual work. It's you just being the silent witness, noticing what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and then choosing to direct it in a more positive, better feeling direction. It's so kind of simple, and yet in the present moment it can elude us because we're distracted by stuff we want to buy, by things we want to say, by stuff we want to prove to each other, like all the different elements. And yet unplugging is helpful. I don't consider social media mainstream media, AA. I consider social media an aspect of new paradigm connectivity and creation, because I can choose what I tune into. And with advanced technology, we can do it. Yeah, interesting insight, Supernova. We celebrate love. We celebrate the love of Jesus by slaughtering animals and eating them. And not just that, but like in this day and age, let's be honest, like the holiday as it is, like this sort of Christmas, what did you see? We love with death, and like Oh, I've lost it, but that's it. Can I beat them up first and after I No, Marco. You just have to love them and caress them, right? And well, and I guess maybe that's part of the intensity of the times that we're living in, is like these polarities. Like, it's so obvious to us, right? It's so obvious. And so if it's become that obvious and clear, it's like it must be that we're getting ready for like another mass up level, like another great awakening of more and more people suddenly just like waking up and going, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I eating these creatures that are my friends? Or why am I buying in? Why am I putting my attention here? Am I the only meat eater here? AA, to be honest, I don't feel your energy. You've been here before and I don't feel you as a troll. We also practice complete non-judgment here. So vegans in this Alta Love community aren't judgy, attacky vegans. We're just people who like it. I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but like my choice to be veggie and vegan is really just because I'm super compassionate. And like as a child, I used to cry at animal violence, and I used to cry what I wouldn't do for a cheeseburger right now. I used to cry when I'd see roadkill. So like squirrels on the side of the street, I'd be like, and then like animal violence on TV. And at that point, I think my mom realized like, oh, great, we've got one. I've got a sensitive on my hands. And so she would try to protect me. And it was pretty much like within a few months after, no, we moved town. So like a few years after my mom and my dad got divorced, like we were raised in a really small kind of farming community in Canada. So my mom didn't raise us veggie, but then after my parents got divorced, we moved, and then we moved to a slightly larger town. I was 11, and my mom was just like, hey, would you consider veggie? And suddenly I'm like, oh my god, beef is cow, ribs is pigs. And then I was like, no doubt about it. And to be honest, I've never ever ever looked back. It's never come into question. I have no craving for meat, have no desire to eat meat. My point is all celebration and compassion. My point is that all this celebration, compassion, mixed in spirit does not make sense. As far as just the consumerist stuff and the non-integrity of actual loving celebration, right? Because we're not, I get you. As in, actually, this loving, compassionate celebration is more about buying stuff and killing stuff. Exactly. So I do it for different reasons. I eat less of it. I eat more veggies and less meats. Yes. Yes, I will control you with my mind and my compassionate ways. 12020. Oh my god. AA. So weirdly. And Middle Earth. This is like another side note into ish, but I keep getting these downloads about Hollow Earth and Middle Earth. And these like beings, these almost like, it sounds so ridiculous, but the hobbits, Christmas, does anyone know what it means? Christmas, I feel you, my father killed my... Oh my god, supernova! Supernova, that is so intense. No kidding, the trauma. This is the thing, is that we compassion beings, whether we're from the 9th, the 7th, wherever we're coming from in the cosmos, it's not really like killing creatures and stuff is never, I'll get back to the hobbits. It's just not in alignment. Like the slaughtering and sacrifice is not in alignment with where we sit vibrationally in our signature frequency. Some beings on different frequencies, it doesn't hurt their soul because they're still vibrating from perception of separation. Anywho, so I don't know, AA, but all I am saying yo, you guys, I just love all of you. And I love how much you guys love each other. And like, this is what I'm talking about. New paradigm community, my soul tribe, my soul family. I love you guys. So AA, so the habits. So, and this is something, this is about, there's one of you specifically, your name, your avatar name is long. It's like Tube Donnie Two Black or something like that. You always call me Arwen, like the elven realms, and I really resonate with that, and I imagine some of you resonate with that. And I've worked with people who I swear to God are mermaids, and I swear to God, like, they have this elemental, and like some of my friends who are fairies. So here we are, we're bridging. And then yesterday I was getting this insight about like dwarves and how, okay, we're star beings. So this is us connecting to cosmic origin. Okay, I'm going right out there into weirdo land, you guys. But our cosmic origin means that, like, as beings, we are really truly made up of stardust. We're made up of the elements of the earth, but we're also made up of the elements of the cosmos, and that we are truly infinite, eternal beings. So there's aspects of our memory bank that can remember different lives on different planets, and some of us have connections to different stargates and star systems, like the Seven Sisters, like supernova, like the Seven Sisters, like Andromeda, like the Arcturians, like Syrians. So like we have connections. Awesome. Yeah, I think we all fit into the world in different ways and have services to provide. Okay, so now as beings on this planet, we're like elevating ourselves to realize, like, oh, there's more to the story than meets the eye. That's for damn sure, right? John, I definitely see you in the elfin community. I can definitely res with that. And then that got me thinking about dwarfism and dwarves, and how the dwarves are in Lord of the Rings. And then I'm like, you know how in our culture, like, different people are different, like the short people are da-da, and I'm like, oh my God, they're different, but in a much more cosmic, epic way. They're not different like less than, they're just different, like the elves are the elves and the dwarves are the dwarves and the da-da-da. And actually what it means is that we come with different gifts, we come with different energetic signatures, which, when it comes to the great battle of inner earth and us rising this planet to new paradigm, right? To new, more harmonious way of being, where we defeat Saruman in the ring of evil and greed. Then I feel like there'll be greater balance. And okay, this is like a weird insight, but I feel like there's beings, earthlings, beings who really do have origins here. Like, some of us might resonate with not having origins here. So I am a being who intuitively knows that my origins are not of this planet, okay? However, I'm aware that there are beings whose origins are here. Now, we might think that they're the beings who have forgotten, but they're not. Yo, hey Kurt Mill, these are the beings, now this is just pure intuition, but these are like the Shire folk, and they've been in hiding. They've been living in Middle Earth. They've literally been underground because of the pain, chaos, and the dark forces who have taken over. I know, what a story. And we have all been called by Earth and by the Earthlings. And I feel like the Shire folk are about to be known, which is also very exciting, FYI, is that, okay, once lightning cut a tree almost in half the next day, I had to bruise my jimmy. Okay, so there's like a twofold aspect of this story that I'm telling you. It's that we're gonna keep shining light into corruption, and then, like, next level ascension / awakening is the fact that we're gonna have full disclosure. So this is freaky, but there's enough of us aware enough, grounded enough, and also able to hold space for enough people. So this is in our consciousness that we're gonna have full disclosure. So this means, Papa! This means that it's not just in the movies, you guys, that in real life there are gonna be beings. Yeah, I am. There's gonna be beings who kind of like who visit us and engage with us, and the best we have is we hold the visitation in love, because the beings that are here, I know we don't see them necessarily, but the beings are here. They are here in assistance of human evolution. They're not here to kill us, or it's not Independence Day or aliens like Predator. It's like aliens like what was that recent movie, Arrival? That recent movie with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner, I think. They have beings visit them, and they have the technology to visit them. And actually what's downloaded through Amy Adams is this universal language via these beings, right? So our mind and our beingness is connected to the Galactic Council. And again, that can sound weird. I could help some of you guys if you ever wanted to, or direct you to practitioners who can. A lot of us who connect on this will remember our galactic, have contact. Many of our leaders, yeah, exactly, this is the thing. But since we're no longer being defined by this father reference, this is what I mean, Kurt, is like we're aware now that this has been like happening. We've just been closed. Arrival. Thank you, A. So it's like now we're moving into the actual manifestation of these different story timelines. So we have disclosure. Suddenly we up level because humanity's eyes and hearts open up to that, and then we have to ground it deeper. And so there's two polarities of what I'm talking about with the Shire folk and inner earth and or hollow earth, or I'm also hearing like middle earth. It's that, pardon me, it's both. So above and below. It's like the inner earth middle beings, the earthlings who have their origins on this planet. As the higher celestial beings are able to descend here safely, it unlocks the gateway for earthlings to rise and come out of hiding. And then and then the whole game is just blown right open, wide open, wide open. Hence why, so in these next couple of years, this is why when I talk about an accelerated exponential change, this is it. This is it. We're heading into it right now as we speak. These two gateways are opening up, and then we ground in the center. We start unlocking all of our intuitive abilities. We start refining and honing telepathy, all of our clairaudience, our invisible, all of our various multi-dimensional gifts we start unlocking. And then in a weird way, life on Earth becomes a lot more like Lord of the Rings. Exactly. Exactly. That was like the end of the Mayan calendar. I think it's related to our shift from trying to separate to knowing we share our world. Yes, exactly. Because there's a connection with ET and the Mayans, and well, any of our ancient civilizations knew, which is why we're remembering and awakening to them as well, and being some of them. So we were perhaps in different incarnations, we were the extraterrestrial beings that may or may not have been welcomed here. And then we have a very profound and soulful connection. Makes me want to cry, you guys. We have a very profound and soulful connection to the earthlings and to the Shire folk and to the peaceful people of this planet. And then the story of the dark forces. So for me, I'll share briefly with you guys, like my early awakenings, that was part of it. And it's not about drama, but it's just like light, dark. It's just part of the ongoing dance of existence, right? But like there is always a balancing act. And so we do as beings often like go around in kind of infinity loop, possibly having to fight wars, galactic wars and stuff like that, to keep ourselves in harmonic balance. And then And then other times we are beings of light, bringing in more light frequency, bringing in more harmonic love and compassion, and that has a lot to do with how our souls have grown and learned in this great cosmic story. I sometimes like I'll tune in and like hear myself talking and being like, what am I actually saying? I don't know, but somehow it makes sense to me, and somehow it makes sense to you guys, which is just well done, us. It makes me excited, right? Because it suddenly really does show us a gateway out of some of the messes that we're in. And the more we tune to the heart frequency, the more we can really, really see how it like how it draws it out of us and how we meet one another there. AA, hey dude, I feel like I'm on the precipice of becoming. You already are. Otherwise, you wouldn't probably be tuning in. And this is how we know we're on a path. Is like we everything we see and everything we tune to is reflecting an aspect of ourselves. So there's something pulling you in and drawing you in here. I know, John, but you know you're legit. It's good to go. And that's something and again, I'm kind of out there, and I don't gel with kind of cliques or collectives, which is why internet is a really great place for me to have a tribe, because yeah, I've in circles of people, I often find too much cliquiness or too much group mentality starts to happen. Here, I feel we can all maintain our sovereignty and still engage energetically and vibrationally with one another. So AA, to reflect that back to you, that's kind of part of my journey. I seem to reflect and draw in people from all different walks of life. You know, like I've worked with like randomly like Middle Eastern royalty. I've worked with Olympic athletes. I've worked with this is weird, but I've worked with like cage fighters and like you know, there's like high level fight people. I work with movie directors. I've worked with like and then I love to give and share, and I've worked with aspiring musicians. I've worked with other yogis who are setting up businesses and all that kind of stuff. So I don't, there's no one pocket that I sit with, and hence why you probably gravitate naturally. It's that great. It don't matter where you live, boy. And we all, I mean, I'm in a really lovely woman's bedroom, back room right now. I stay in Airbnbs when I'm seeing clients in London. So yeah. Anyway, actually, AA and any of you guys, it's really interesting. Supposedly they have galactic federation, so I wonder how humans fit into that government. Okay, Kurt Mill. This is relevant because we do. I'm very likely the fact that you have an awareness of the Galactic Federation, you're in it. And you might well have memory of different galactic wars we fought in, and where you sit in the Galactic Federation. And my vision of it is very much like how we would vision it from Star Wars or Star Trek, but like it's huge. And we all have a seat, and our galactic form is still humanish, but it might take on a slightly different aspect. And the more we merge with our infinite self, the more we take on those qualities, and the more we embody those qualities of yeah, or Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, maybe they are, rather than And again, it's all frequency. It's just frequency, and it's organizing power. So if we look at the, the what we want to talk about here, what we're engaged with, is the energetic frequency and how we direct thought as creators, right? And this world is like a breeding ground, a station, some people call it experiment. I don't quite sit with that word. That sounds a little bit careless to me. Yeah, we are. And this is like kind of the weird thing about this next level with the disclosure and stuff. And something that it's weird for me, but like, what did you just say? But we're humans? What do you do about the humans? Oh, okay, so this is like a weird insight. And it's to do with the evolution of AI and technology. Everyone would have a place in contributing to the well-being of others. Yes. Yes, Kurt Mill. Because that is just the natural point of creative force. Creative force is the creative output, and the antimatter and the dark forces is that which destroys. And we need both polarities in all of existence, and yet in a galactic, in the higher realms, of creation, there is a container for it. So yeah. So people's output is that of allowing. Hence why how we can be here and allow war and allow the level of corruption and disparity is that we are already containers for it. Me too. Oh, tell me more. I'm interested. You're not an advocate for resource. It is, and it blows everything wide open for discussions, and then I also see how this disclosure stuff is potentially gonna. You are okay, good, because I was gonna say me too, and then I reread being like, oh, you're not. No, again, I think when we shift into heart, it's just obvious. I'm like, duh, I don't want to live on a planet where half of us don't get to eat. That's not fun. I don't want to live on a planet where, the people over there are oppressed and they have to make our shitty, cheap clothes, like, so resource-based economy just means that no one governing body owns anything and we share. Just seems so effing obvious, doesn't it, right? And actually going back to the share of this topic, you guys, was unplugging. Unplugging from the mainstream agenda is a huge part of our collective awakening and our ability to pioneer new systems, new operations, right? Because the new systems, yeah, Venus Project and Joseph Campbell, right? Is that his? No, not Joseph Campbell. The Zeitgeist guy. Save ourselves if they offer solutions to a better common, they can't control our process. No. Yes, the Venus Project, and also you could look at the New Earth Haven. This is like a newer, agier, although I'm completely aligned with something like the Venus Project, resource-based economy. What's the guy's name who did Zeitgeist? I know it's Joseph, but not Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell's an author, a literary author. Yeah, New Earth Haven. I'm going to do an interview with the guy who's running New Earth Haven as well, Sasha Stone. So I'm kind of intrigued about that. We'll see how it goes. And so these are movements or communities that are, I guess you could say, sort of further down the line. And then Jacques Fresco is a true pioneer. He's passed on now, I think, actually. But the Venus Project, it lives on in our awareness, right? As a... and on another note, you guys, the merging of the ET and the Hollow Earth, or the Middle Earth beings coming to the fore, us shape-shifting our consciousness, and us embracing things like resource-based economy, us embracing projects like the Venus Project, that we can create them, us embracing movements like all to love, where we consciously endeavor moving to a higher vibrational frequency in our beingness, understanding the alchemical process of transformation, and understanding it's good for the good of all. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was. So it was only this year, eh? So and so the legacy lives on, and then that's part of, for me, what I realized, because people have so much fear around, like, what are we gonna work? And I'm like, but that's the whole point. Humanity, in a resource-based economy, humanity's day-to-day tasks are going to be different. Basically, once we up level and or you could say uproot the density of the old paradigm and the false grids, the dark forces, right? Once we uproot those, we implement the light, which means projects like the Venus Project can be born. Like projects like that, we can actually start to create them. And then the biggest thing, right, is that when we really make that shift, it becomes effortless. And so I'm long and short of it, guys, is that we're not slaves anymore. That's the biggest difference. Part of the fear paradigm is slave. So you see mass enslavement to a dark force of everyone just like blindly buying and shopping to feed the dark forces. As we continue this awakening, people ground into their kind of lighter frequencies, they rise themselves up, and the dark forces have nothing to hold on to. They have nothing to feed off of. And now how we look in our new paradigm societies is that none of us are slaves. Imagine that. We get to meditate, play, create, and have a sense of, have a cyclical society rather than a mechanical and linear society. Or have a cyclical, circular worldview rather than, again, a mechanistic, industrious worldview. So thus, the humanity, the beingness of this planet is a higher vibrational frequency, is living more on that harmonic, and thus we begin to reflect that world back to us. Thanks, guys. Snow miser. I'm not opposed to things like mushrooms and LSD. I did, one of you's here, I feel, Supernova, we did, anyway, I'm not going to share that, but I do have a video about my ayahuasca experience. Yeah, circular economy rather than triangular pyramidal one. Oh, Kurt Mel, that has just triggered something in me about pyramids and about, okay, guys, I want to, psychotropics is the word I think you're looking for. Yeah, plant medicine. I'm quite into it as far as an expansive, anyway, pyramid, ancient civilizations. Okay, random question for you guys out there. I, as you do, stumbled upon a video on YouTube. I watched probably like the first 15 minutes, and that's okay. You, Snow Miser, you've not triggered me. You've not triggered me at all, my friend. Oh yeah, okay, so I found, have you guys seen or come across any of these weird videos about the mud flood? And it's about how like our whole history is total hogwash, and that there was like some worldwide mud flood like 200 years ago. And I haven't gone back to look at it, but even just having watched 20 minutes of this video, I'm suddenly like, I'm like looking around at buildings and like situations and being like, oh my God, what is this world? So yeah, I'm just curious if any of you guys have seen that, and I might just have to shut her down right now, or continue that little rabbit hole, maybe pull at that thread and see what happens. No, I might share it, I'm not sure. I don't even remember who made it, but now that I found one video, there's actually a couple videos about this mud flood thing, and I'm like, and again, it's based on the idea that our whole history that we've been told, i.e. the 2 world wars and like all the world wars and how our civilization was built, like this modern day civilization, industrial revolution, like all that kind of stuff, like that is all hogwash, and it actually like jumps to same, but it jumps to it basically connects like E.T. It's more about the whole alien stuff and the fact that our human evolution story is just not true at all. So we'll have to see about that. It all takes back to how you started the video. We lost ourselves as humans. What really matters because it's mass consumer marketing. Yep. What matters most, you guys, is me and you. And our ability to be right here in the love heart vibration, love heart vibration. Cha, cha, cha. And let's just create from the heart of love. And then everything is fine. But for real, how do you get back to love? Stop watching fucking TV. Because it's bullshit. Watch me instead. Yes, I agree. Kurt Mill. So Kurt Mill, yeah, I want to finish with that because people often misinterpret my lingo as like, fight the system, or like some people are like, why are you so aggressive? I'm not aggressive, I'm just passionate about change, conscious change, global change, positive change, like empowering change where people get to feel better and people get to feel happier, right? And Kurt Mill, the beautiful piece, and thank you so much for reminding me about this, is that I'm somebody who's had like a lot of anger issues to work through and a lot of control, which I think a lot of people do. But I'm in this place, like even a couple of my recent shares where I was like, I love the system. I'm thankful. I'm so thankful for the patriarchy, for the system, for all this crazy divisive stuff, for like, because all of it is what's birthing this new experience, right? All this consumer shopping is what's waking us up to our sovereignty. All this crazy war cycle is what's waking us up to our broader potential for unconscious or for unconditional love, right? I'm gonna jump in that conversation too. I watched something called Minimalism, which was interesting. And I'm currently watching repeats of Friends, which I'm finding incredibly fascinating as far as programming and imprinting on that level. Mudfludge, you guys, check it out. I'm gonna sign off now. I fucking love you guys. You're amazing, and I really sometimes I don't even realize when I'm welcome to capitalism. Well, that's the thing, is that I think we're like rising. I think we're moving beyond. Whatever that is. Oh, I have that doc on my Netflix watch laters. Minimalism, yeah. It's pretty good. It's interesting. Although I watched this documentary and realized I've actually been a minimalist most of my life. Like, I left home when I was 19 and then left Canada when I was 20 with a backpack and never went back. And my stuff that was put away in boxes, I'm like, you can get rid of that. I've never really had an attachment to materiality, to like material things. I've always just been like, why does that matter? God, there's all of these deep questions about life. Who cares about the dresses? But that's just my personal point of attraction, I guess. Yeah, so you guys, thank you so much. You make my mornings just proper fun and legit. We should probably make another video just to talk about this shit freestyle. Yeah, exactly. If you're ending this, it was amazing hearing your opinions. Good night and have a blessed night. You guys are amazing. I love all of you. Feel free to subscribe and stay tuned in. I pretty much go live like every morning. I do proper live sessions Sunday morning at 6 a.m., which is around this time. But I love like being here with you and sharing with you. So just have a gorgeous, gorgeous day. Love heart vibration all over the finish, and give you guys a big love hug. This is a love hug from MJ and all to love. And thank you guys for your insights. You inspire me, and I think for me, my next endeavor when it comes to higher learning is I want to learn more about astrology. So some of you, you know who you are, you've definitely inspired me, and I'm looking forward to learning more and just being able to share even more kind of like to the point and accurate, loving transmissions for you guys. Have a blessed morning. Right back at you, Snow Miser. Bye, you guys. Love you.